Welcome to Truth Be Told. This is our 5th annual Story Slam, District Story Slam. My name is Paige Battle. I am the teacher librarian at Grant High School. And I want to thank our students and judges, the teachers, librarians, community members, parents for coming out in support and celebration of storytelling. Truth Be Told is a live storytelling competition. This started back in 2017 when some PPS high school teacher librarians came together and decided, we already have several schools doing story slams in their libraries. What if we took winners from all those slams and had them come together for a district competition? And so that is how Truth Be Told came about. And if you've been following the slides or you looked in your program, you have an idea of how this event works. You know that these storytellers get 5 minutes to tell a story. It's a story that has to be true. It has to be about their lived experience, and it needs to somehow tie into the theme for this year's event. And so this year, you're going to be hearing stories about being lucky. So these storytellers are going to be judged on their storytelling. One of the things that goes into this is if you go over that 5-minute mark, you do have a 1-minute grace period. But once you hit the 6-minute mark, you are deducted 1 full point from your score. And I know if I was in the storyteller's shoes, I would definitely be getting a penalty because I just tend to talk on. And so I'm going to try to wrap it up here so we can get to our storytellers. I want you to remember that even though there's points involved, this is not really about points. The point is that we're here to celebrate these stories that you're going to share with us. But because this is a competition, there are going to be points involved. And so while we have these judges adding up the points, the top point getter, after we've thrown out the highest and the lowest score and taken the average of the middle 3, that highest point total will be this year's Slam champion. And then we will have a runner-up. All right, so before we get into the stories, I'm going to ask everyone to make sure that your electronic device is either off or totally silenced. All right, I got mine off. Okay. So on your program, we listed the storyteller names in alphabetical order of the school that they attend. But the order that they're going to come up onto the stage is going to be by the luck of the draw. And so if I could get Miss Sullivan to remind me where the fishbowl got placed. Some of y'all probably heard this when you came in. I was telling our storytellers and judges and the people who are helping us tonight that February 24th is National Toast Day. So I was asking people, do you have a favorite topping that you like on a piece of toast? Or if you were going to toast somebody or something, what might that be? So our first storyteller told me, I like my toast with avocado, and it also needs to have a little bit of garlic powder. It has a healthy taste, but also it's a little bit like the bread you get at Olive Garden. I'm sold. So can we welcome to the microphone Danica Young from Lincoln.
My high school math teacher, right before taking a test, would always tell us, I'm not going to wish you luck, because luck favors the prepared. Now, this was debatably true for the world of high school algebra, but it was very, very true in terms of national circuit level policy debate. Now, if you're unacquainted with policy debate, you should know this. It is insane. It is debates about honestly anything, from whether or not asteroids can be solved by international treaties, or whether or not climate change can be solved in order to help famines. Doesn't ever really make sense, but hey, that's the thing about policy debate. Luck is preparation in this form. Now the thing about luck in policy debate is that it is sort of like a mom who says that she doesn't play favorites, but gives your sister the bigger bedroom, which is to say it absolutely plays favorites, and one of those favorites was our big rival school, who I'll just call RPS. Now, RPS, in terms of funding metaphors, is like the industrial military complex to our school's NASA. They had more judges, more coaches, more evidence, more debaters than us, and just on every level, completely outmatched us. But that was okay, because hey, NASA put men on the moon, and by God, were we going to Sally ride that 0.48% of national funding straight into the cosmos. Let's go. So this excitement was the attitude that I had going into national qualifiers my junior year of high school. And unfortunately, it was one that was quickly dashed when I heard the actual topic of the round, which was, you guessed it, international data privacy laws. And if you're thinking, what the hell is that? That's exactly what I was thinking, and I had to also somehow debate this. So needless to say, I was supremely screwed. I remember shaking in my Hillary Clinton pantsuit, thinking, how in the world am I going to debate this? And so during those 8 minutes when that opponent gave that speech, by God, did I try and just frantically cobble together any somewhat coherent argument. I remember going through my Dropbox, my hard drive, my Google Drive, anything that could be even tangentially related to international data privacy laws. And I remember about 3 minutes before I was about to give my speech, I stumbled upon this floating Word document titled Disclosure Theory. Now, if you're unfamiliar with disclosure theory, it's basically this super cracked, like meta-level argument that says that if the affirmative team, in this case RPS, were to not tell us the topic of the round beforehand, that they should be automatically disqualified. Now, if you're thinking, this does not sound like a very good argument, you're right. The probability of a judge winning for this is about the same probability as an English teacher giving an A to an essay that they don't personally agree with, which is to say, practically 0. So I was desperate. And because I was desperate, I copy-pasted that speech, that argument into my speech and prayed for the best. Because by God, time did not wait for any man, and for me, time was more like a vindictive bus driver with a vendetta against my first period attendance record. And it was really, really stepping on the brakes, stepping on the gas. So then, it was time for my speech. Now, I don't really remember the contents of my speech so much as I remember the way I felt giving it. Sort of the way I feel now, this sort of clammy, sweaty hands, shaking, trembling, sweat piling the back of my neck, my voice trembling as I tried to remember frantically the next word I'm going to say, and my heart beating so loudly in my chest that I was so sure it would drown out the sound of my voice in the microphone. And then it's like 1 second, I'm staring into a little Zoom box, and the next, I'm in a voice call. And I'm sitting in my PJs, it's almost midnight, and I'm with my debate coach. His name is Jeff, and if you haven't met him, here's the rundown on him. He's 6'4", simultaneously the most intimidating and kind-hearted man you'll ever meet, and is exactly the kind of person who only cracks jokes when it's at your expense, but also was the one to comfort me as a freshman, my national qualifiers round, which I brutally, brutally lost. So it only seemed fitting that at my last ever national qualifiers round, that he would be the one to tell me the results. And so, when Jeff says, with the solemnity of someone about to give a eulogy, the results are out. I am nervous, but I'm ready. I'm ready to hear how we brutally lost, how fate has once again wrenched this victory from its cruel, cruel hands. And then he says, I'm sorry, but we were going to have to prepare for nationals in June. The way I screamed apparently broke my laptop mic. I have no recollection of this, but apparently it's true. And the vindication and sheer euphoria I felt truly cannot be described in mere mortal words. But I think if I were to try to describe it, I would go back to the words of my high school math teacher. Sure, luck may favor the prepared, but I think luck is really more a combination of random chance than know-how and using preparation when it's actually the right time. And so, to RPS, I say, good luck at nationals. You're gonna need it.
I want to take some time throughout the evening to let you know about the people that are here helping us tonight. So I'm starting, so there was a joke a couple of years ago when I was doing a story slam. I said, this is the oldest friend of mine from Portland, and I didn't realize how that sounded. Like, no, this person isn't old. But when I look at this panel of judges, there's a person over there that has been in my life the longest, and that is our judge, Matt Brown, who I met when I went to grad school in Raleigh, North Carolina. So Matt said that toast is a perfect food, a simple wonder, and he's down with having just butter on the top of his toast. Wow. Yes. And Miss Sullivan, I don't know, there seems to be someone that might be outside that would want to come in. So maybe we should go help him. All right, and so another person who's helping us tonight is our math genius, Michael Manser. He too went with toast of the type that you can eat, because I also wondered, might you want to give a toast to something, but no, he went with, I want a piece of toast that has a ton of Nutella on it. Yes, that sounds really tasty. Okay, so now we're ready for the next name, and I keep misplacing that fishbowl. Somebody sees it. All right, can I just remind people that we have not done this for 2 years. Hey, I'm like, how do we do Story Slam again? What's happening? So, I love what this next storyteller had to say about toast. This storyteller also likes Nutella and said, I really like Nutella and bananas on toast. Also, I would probably want to eat toast with a little Victorian boy who'd been accused of stealing. So please help us welcome to the mic Z. Camp from Grant.
Oh, yes. Can you hear me?
Good.
Wow.
Nice.
Hold on. No side profile. This seems a lot less scary from the ground. All right, am I good to start? Awesome. So, I am a big fan of animals. I think this is important. I'm not saying I'm a vegetarian or a vegan, totally not. But I do like animals. But in 7th grade, there was something that I liked much more. And that was, you know what every other 7th grader loved, hardcore wilderness survival. Which was brought to me by a summer camp some of you may have heard of, which would be Tracker's Earth, originally based out of Southeast Portland and now all over the world apparently. But back in that time, wilderness survival was all I could think about. I had half of my dresser for my school clothes, you know, my jeans, my silly graphic t-shirts, and the other half was my Tracker's clothes. Now this was real wilderness survival, everyone. So my dad would take me to Andy and Max, the military surplus store, and buy me 17 and gangly and full of hormones, adult men military clothes. And so I'd have these t-shirts that would go to like my knees, and these pants I'd have to cinch so tight just to stay up on my little body. I also think that maybe it's important to know that also, as such a big fan of wilderness survival, I also was a big fan of walking, something I could do at the time. Not anymore. So I went, and Trackers did this program called the Apprenticeship Program, which was for kids that enjoyed spending their weekends in the middle of the woods, freezing cold, sopping wet, and absolutely miserable. Because that is what a 12-year-old wants to do. That was what this 12-year-old wanted to do. So I would go, and they had a camp that was kind of out and sandy. So, we weren't getting like buckets of snow, but it like wasn't warm and comfortable in November. And Trackers really emphasized that you brought as little things as possible because you were surviving. So I'd bring a shirt, maybe another shirt, a jacket, one pair of my big, nice military army man pants, and maybe a pair of shorts, just in case. And this, God, it must have been like 5 in the morning. We had been plagued with these early mornings because there was a rooster running around the camp. The meanest rooster I have ever met. I guess it wasn't our rooster, could have been a neighbor's rooster, but one day it learned that with its beak, or its foot, or its wing, that it could open the garage door and eat our chicken food. So it was incredibly intelligent. And this thing was like, like a motorcycle or like mean. It won a fight with a coyote and had a nasty scar to show it. But I wasn't thinking much about the rooster until 5 in the morning when I promptly woke up hearing it caw-caw, caw-caw, like some sort of dinosaur had come back to life. And as I was walking, sopping wet, miserable, Saturday, 40 degrees, I was told, go catch the rooster. Because our instructor was just as miserable as we were, because they were getting paid minimum wage to hang out with middle schoolers who were miserable in the woods. So I walk over expecting to see 3 kids running around chasing this rooster that we would never catch. But instead, I see a friend holding a cute little chicken. And she was so excited to see me. She goes, Z, I need you to hold this chicken. I'm going to snap its neck. And I go, you're going to do what? She goes, hold the chicken. I'm going to snap its neck. I've done it before. She's 12. So I hold this chicken in my arms, and the chicken's looking at me. Not a thought in the head. And I'm looking at my friend, who's looking at me, who's looking at the chicken, and you can hear the rooster in the distance. And I go, I don't think you're supposed to kill this chicken. And she goes, no. Yeah, I'm gonna kill this chicken. I'm gonna snap its neck. Hold the chicken. I look at the chicken. Chicken looks back at me. I can hear the rooster in the distance. No, I really don't think you're supposed to kill this chicken. Like, Trackers was hardcore, but not make a 12-year-old snap a chicken's neck. Like, it's a little much. They were still a family-friendly organization. And all I hear is, don't kill the chicken! As it turns out, it was some sick game of telephone that Catch the Rooster turned into Kill the Chicken. And as I set this chicken down, he was still kind of looking at me. I was still kind of looking at the chicken. My friend was still in shock. And I thought to myself, man, that chicken sure was lucky. Sure was lucky that I loved it more than the taste of chicken on a cold, cold morning. Thank you.
Okay, so the next person that I would like to introduce you to is one of our judges, Jenny, Jennifer Batchelor. And when I asked her about toast, She exclaimed, "Toast Royale," because she needs to have good bakery bread, vegan butter. Is it two types of butter? Vegan butter and
Nut butter.
and a nut butter, as well as a delicious jam. So, the other Jennifer, who is here helping us tonight, she is the library assistant at Grant High School, working with me. I had you down as timekeeper, but I think your job has changed slightly to collector of math sheets.
Well, I'm also the timekeeper.
Okay, timekeeper as well. All right, so Jennifer likes to keep things basic. She likes to put butter and cinnamon sugar on top of her toast. That seemed like a popular choice. I was kind of surprised she didn't want jelly, because we have this joke at our school where that's her nickname because of her initial, because my nickname is peanut butter because of my initials. But no, it's cinnamon sugar for her. All right, so again, I'm looking for Nancy and the fishbowl. All right, this next storyteller, when asked the question of the evening, I think this had a lot of components to it, so I'm hoping I get this right, that it needed to have Adam's peanut butter. There was homemade raspberry jam, and this jam had been made in the storyteller's home, and then the storyteller's mom wanted to point out that they had picked the raspberries and then made it so that this jam had quite a bit of sunshine in it. Sounds like it had quite a bit of love as well. So can we welcome to the stage Alicia from Lincoln.
I've been multiracial since I was 5. I've been multiracial since I was born. And I'm not talking about taking a 23andMe test and finding out I'm 1% Native American? I'm practically a minority. No, I'm the real deal. I'm talking white chocolate, mayonnaise, cauliflower mom, mixing with a pork roast potato skin chocolate dad to create the delicious meal that I am. Which is probably why I'm not a good cook. But actually, even though being multiracial is just one facet of my life, I've become so important to me that I feel like I've been multiracial my whole life. And because of that, I'm always surprised when growing up, I was kind of left with the sentiment that being born white means you're lucky, and being born a person of color means you just lost the genetic lottery. But of course, I didn't always feel this way. So here it is, the story of the 50 shades of brown that I am. Now, growing up, everyone is a bit confused. What is math, and why do I have to solve its problems? How does a pineapple contain neither pine nor apple? Are birds even real? However, when my school race test asked me to choose between white and Asian, and there was no box for brown and confused, life became a little bit more difficult. I mean, I didn't know who I was. And in school, when teachers asked me what race I had or what culture I had, I never really knew how to answer that question. And it wasn't just me. I mean, my hair doesn't know who I am. I can braid it like a Norwegian yodeler, toss it up in a bun, and still wake up with a mini afro every single morning. Any sense of normalcy is due to industrial amounts of hairspray and sheer force of will. My doctor doesn't know who I am. She says it's bad to have brown spots on your body. Wait till I tell her that my whole body is brown. My school doesn't know who I am. My report card says female, 11th grade, 2 or more. 2 or more? 2 or more what? I had to clarify with my mom that this was the number of races I have and not the number of times I'm going to cry after giving a speech. But unfortunately, as I was coming to terms with my race when growing up, I started to realize that others around me were doing so as well. Now, I do have to admit, I've lived a pretty sheltered life.
I mean, I'm giving a story slam speech. That should speak for itself. In addition, my school has tried to be supportive of people of color. We have a lot of great clubs like Brothers and Sisters of Color, Asian Student Union, and Indian Student Union. What about a white person club? Sorry, Karen, we don't have a white person club because we're not Nazis. However, for all my school and education has tried to be supportive to people of color, we did have a unit on being multiracial until my freshman year, when my English teacher put together some presentations and poems on being biracial. Now, I was really excited for this, and finally being able to relate to course content. However, it wasn't quite what I expected. To briefly summarize her poems and presentation, biracial baby is born. Biracial baby is ashamed of its very existence. Biracial baby dies. End scene. Now, despite some deep soul searching, I found that I couldn't quite relate to this message and didn't want the whole class thinking that it was my narrative. So after class, I worked up the confidence and told her that I didn't think it reflected my story. Then, my English teacher looked me in the eye and told me that her presentation was correct, and my experience just wasn't genuine. In other words, I was being multiracial wrong. Now, for some context here, my English teacher was white. And to describe just how white she is, well, she's an English teacher. But obviously, as a freshman, that's a lot to take in. I mean, I was kind of just coming to terms with who I was, and then bam. But I am actually grateful that happened, because I realized that I'm never going to fit in with what my English teacher wanted me to be. And I feel lucky that I had the opportunity to realize that. And realize that ultimately, I can't fit into any box. And I can't fit any norm of what society wants me to be. And that's scary. But it's also liberating. I am only me. And that is all I can be. Unapologetically multiracial.
Okay, also on our judging panel tonight, as they are reflecting on our last story, we have Olivia Jones Hall from Literary Arts, and quite an interesting topping on her toast. I am looking forward to trying this. First, you start with creamy horseradish. You add fresh avocado and everything but the bagel seasoning. Finish it off with a fried egg. Did I get all of that correct? It sounds amazing. I really want to try that. Now, this next one, so heartfelt. The last couple of years, we've had the great fortune to have Frank Dudula come in and video these events so that we can remember them into perpetuity. Frank, I think you've been a part of my teacher career, my entire career, way back in Jefferson High School days. So, Frank said, I'm going to give a toast to all the participants. So, thank you for that, Frank. And thank you for battling traffic around the Moda Center as the Trailblazers had a home game tonight. All right, the next storyteller says that on toast, you need to have eggs, sunny side up, and a lot of hot sauce. Can you please welcome to the microphone Shayla from Franklin?
Thank you for wiping down the microphone to keep me safe. All right. Okay. So, I have a lot of really strange fears, such as bees and artificial intelligence. But the one fear that I have that I will always attempt to conquer, even if it costs me my life, is my fear of missing out. You see, I have the worst FOMO ever. I've always had, but it just got way worse this year. It's my senior year. I'm busy doing schoolwork, college work, and actual paid work on the weekends, which means I have no time to hang out with my friends. So for the past few months of like my year, every single time I would see my friends do the most mundane things ever, I would just crumble and be like, oh my god, I wasn't able to hang out, which means they don't like me anymore. I'm just like a shadow, I'm a stranger. Like I would just crumble. And that happened for like a couple of months, but then Veterans Day came along, and it was on a day where we had no school and I had no work. So then my friend Fiona was like, hey, since we have nothing this day, who wants to go up to Astoria for the day? And then I heard that and I was like, give me a spot in your Volvo, please, because if I don't get a spot in here, then like our friendship is over for sure. So I was able to go, and it was me, Fiona, and then my friend Annabella and my girlfriend Avi. And the planning was all smooth. It was going like really swell. But then, about like a day or so before the trip, we got a warning for atmospheric rainfall the whole entire day. And like, as an Oregonian, like rain isn't really an issue, but like this was like heavy rainfall, like all up in the air. It was just really fast paced. It was really scary rain. So that made our parents very concerned about our safety. And there was a couple of parents who were like, how about you just like not go? And like, I know my parents were saying that too. And I was like, no, I need to go to this. Like, I don't care. So Fiona's dad calmed down all the parents and said, like basically like, I know which route they can go so that they can stay safe. And that was Route 30, which it goes up to Washington and then back down to Astoria. So we took that route. And even though it was raining pretty hard, we all got to Astoria in one piece. So we went up there and we had a really fun time. Like we went to all the museums, we ate at some random cafe. It wasn't really that good, but I mean, whatever. It fit the vibe for the rain and stuff. And we had a lot of good conversations, and then we had to head home. And we were gonna go down Route 30 again, but they were closed because of the atmospheric rainfall. So we had to go down Route 26, which I really did not know about, but I was like, okay, whatever, we get some new scenery, whatever. So we're heading down and it's going well. It's a little dark, but we're able to see. And then we had to stop and use the restroom. So Fiona's driving and then she stops at the like closest little convenience store we see. And let me tell you, this convenience store was sketch. Like, I don't remember there being a name on like the front. We go inside, things are like clattered everywhere, like a lot of things are out of stock. The only two people were in there were like old men in camo, and they didn't have masks on at all. It was pretty uncomfortable. And like I went in to use the to ask for the bathroom because it said like customers only, and I just had to buy some M&Ms. And then the guy said like it was down there, whatever. So we go down and it's just two wooden doors. And the doors were already open. I didn't have to ask for anything. Like I could have just went in, I didn't have to buy anything. So I go inside and it was a really dirty bathroom. There was like one rag to wipe your hands, like everyone had to wipe their hands on it. And then above the toilet there was like a weird like coin machine filled with like erotic like trinkets or whatever that no one probably buys from. Like I don't know why you would. And so everyone just did their business, whatever, and that was the only thing I had to worry about, or so I thought. So it got really dark really fast, and may I mention, we were in the middle of the woods, so right when we got into the car, it seemed like it just started raining really quickly again, and it just got pitch black, and we were just in the forest, and then all the roads all of a sudden turned really curvy, and like it was very anxiety riddling. Like I was looking at the lines on the road, I was like looking on the route on my like phone, being like, okay, when are we gonna get out of here? There was like people in like big trucks illegally passing us, and like I remember my friend like kind of like swerving off a little bit. Like I was like, I am going to die. And that lasted for about an hour. And like I know that my girlfriend was trying to show me like cat videos on Instagram. I was like, leave me alone, I'm not doing okay. Like your safety is like relying on me. So for that whole hour, we finally were on the highway. It was bumper to bumper traffic, and we were like finally in the light, luckily not in heaven. And I was able to calm down and just think to myself, and I was like, you know, despite all of the uncertainties of this day, not only was I lucky to still have my life, but I was also lucky to have like the strong bonds I have in it. And in those bonds, like distance means absolutely nothing. Thank you.
So you might not be missing out on stuff, but my son, who is a teenager at Franklin as well, I don't know if I'm going to let him get in a car, Shayla, with another teenager to travel up to Astoria. And I'm blaming you for that. All right, so another judge we have with us here tonight is Stephanie Sheldon. She said that she likes to keep things simple, and with her toast, she just needs a little bit of butter. A little butter. And then I wondered, is there a particular type of butter? Because I don't know if people saw lately, Portland Monthly was querying Portlanders, and they were asking about favorite types of mayonnaise. And I know, but okay, maybe my one friend from North Carolina is with me on this one. It has to be Duke's. Right, okay. So I didn't know, does it have to be a particular type of butter for the toast? Salted butter. Sounds good. Okay, we have our fishbowl person helping us, Nancy Sullivan, who's going to bring that over. But I asked her, I'm going to tell your anecdote, but I do need you to bring the fishbowl over. I think we're almost ready. So Nancy says, with her bread, and I asked her, does it need to be cut on a diagonal or straight up and down? Because she wants to cut her bread first. And she said, well, it's whatever bread I'm using will determine what type of cut that it gets. But one half will get almond butter, and the other half will get homemade jam. All right, so asked this storyteller about toast, and the storyteller said, oh, this makes me want to cry. I want to give a toast to all of the teachers from Portland Public Schools, but then there was some humor added in, so I dried up the tears because he said, I'm thanking you for not quitting and continuing to be teachers. So can you welcome up to the microphone, Atticus?
I'm not sure how close this has to be. It's the third grade, and I am a small, shy, kind of bookish kid, a little bit smart, but mostly smart aleck, and I am excited. Finally, my class is upstairs because fire code has deemed me old enough to be able to walk downstairs in case of an emergency, and I see this poster, and it says, Portland Playhouse Fall Festival of Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream, come audition in the library. I mentioned this in passing to my mother, who is an English teacher, teaches a Shakespeare unit, and is formerly an actor. Consequently, the next day I'm being propelled through the doors of the library to go on audition for the show. Ironically, I have to tell a story, and apparently it was a good story, because I got the role of Puck. It was a blast. Learned lots of Shakespeare, learned lots of acting, all sorts of different things. And a couple weeks after the production for Midsummer's ended, my mom gets this email that says, hey, Portland Playhouse, we're putting on this production of A Christmas Carol, and we would like to know if Atticus would like to come down to the Playhouse and perform it. I agree, and over the course of the next couple of months, I developed my British accent and my poor Victorian-era, abused, orphan child persona, and the show is a smash hit. It wins 3 Grammys, and Consequently, the next year, they decide, okay, we're going to put on the show again, and we're going to have more shows. The way they went about adding these extra shows was a little bit dubious in moral terms. There were triple show days. So this was 3 2-hour-long shows in one day. There's no intermission and no understudies for any of the actors. These shows tend to run together a lot, but I do remember this one show very well. It's the third show of the night, and the house is full. We're going about, we're skipping, we're prancing, we're singing along, and it is snowing. Now, for snow to be produced on the stage, there are these large cardboard tubes, bigger than me at the time, that are filled with shredded plastic bags, like the kind you get at a convenience mart, and there are holes in the tube, and actors off stage who aren't performing at the moment would have these pulley systems to shake them and sprinkle snow down onto the stage. This looked really awesome from an audience's perspective, but it didn't feel great during a rest and singing when you inhaled a bit of plastic. But as we're going about our business and singing, all of a sudden there is this snap. The left side pulley has, the rope is just broken. This tube comes swinging down towards the stage, but luckily, the other actor off stage, she manages to hold the tube, suspend it in midair, preventing it from hitting anyone or anything. And this giant pile of garbage falls onto the stage, plastic, and the tech crew sweeps out from the wings and they say, okay, we're going to pause the show, we're going to fix this, we're going to get back on track. And all the actors, we file downstairs, and we're nervous, and we're a little bit worried, and well, what's going on? I don't really know how the show's going to continue. But then we get this call. And it says, well, not a literal call, but an adult has decided we're going to go back upstage and we are going to entertain them, the audience. So we go back upstage and we're still in costume. Still, there's tech crew working to put the snow cradle back up on the ceiling. And we just start performing. We're singing Christmas carols, but not ones from the show, ones that we've learned from our family, and we're teaching them to each other, and we're just having a blast. And I remember in that moment, just looking around and seeing all of these people who I was so grateful to be able to perform on stage with them, to be able to sing with them, and learn their Christmas carols, and how lucky, honestly, it was that I wasn't crumpled by a giant cardboard tube. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm wondering, with the plastic bag ban that's happening in Portland now, how are they going to produce snow for the next show?
I think they've got styrofoam, which is
Ah.
probably even worse.
I thought that's probably environmentally worse, yes.
They
true.
recycled it though. We had to sweep it up after the end of every show.
There we go. That's very Portland. Recycle the snow. Okay, our last judge to introduce on our panel tonight is Inie Weisberg, and she loves to have Swiss cheese and raspberry jam on top of her toast. Quite the combo. Everyone's going home with several toast recipes for the evening. And hey, even I can cook toast. I sympathize with not knowing how to cook. Another person I want to shout out is Stella Felker, who was providing music earlier tonight. Toast is good, Stella says. Particularly good when you add butter, sugar, and cinnamon. The Holy Trinity. This next storyteller says, toast with some butter, but pretty much straight up sugar. Please welcome to the microphone, Ciara from McDaniel.
I'm a little nervous, so the next guy that comes up here, if you see a little pea stain on the floor, okay. If I stop trembling, I should see you. Let's do it. Okay. To be or not to be? That is the question. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever been to regular elementary school? No? Yeah. So as you may know, there are 2 soccer fields, and right at the top of the soccer fields, there's a little forest area. It's right next to the street, and it's right next to the school. Pretty much, the library, the forest area spans from here, like right over here, to like over there where the other classroom is. Pretty much, back in 4th grade, a bunch of my friends and me, we used to hang out in that little area and make little fairy houses and pretend to be fairies and have our little rooms and like have our little stories. I remember one day in particular, we were working on the tree houses and I was paired up with the Popular Girls. Just a little backstory, I was the weird kid in elementary school. I was known as the cat girl. I used to hiss at people, bite people, and meow at people. It was not good, and the Popular Girls hated me for that because I was weird. And like, they didn't want to be with a weird kid. So we were working on the fairy houses. I was putting up posters, like a little cat poster over here, My Little Pony, most likely Rainbow Dash or something, I don't know. And I was working on my tree house, and I was like, you know what? I really hate those girls over there. They hate me, I hate them. It's kind of neutral. Enemies! And I was working on the tree house, and I was like, you know what? I want something fun to happen, something exciting. And that's when I hear followed by silence. Then, out of nowhere, I hear this. Bees! Bees were everywhere. I don't know who, but someone stepped on a beehive and they were everywhere. I want you guys to help me a little bit. I want you guys to buzz at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It was like that, but 10 times louder. I don't know what they were doing. They were just everywhere. They were probably listening to Beyonce. But like, I was there. I was shocked, and my mind wasn't working. There was pee coming down my pants. I had poop stains. It was terrifying. And I was just like thinking, like, what should I do? My mind started to work, and my mind told me, Sierra, you need to get the hell out of here. So I did. Oh. I ran out of here. Does it still work? Oh yeah. I ran out of here. Everyone, and I made it to the playground safely. I didn't get stung. And I just looked back at the forest area, and I saw girls were running, they were screaming, they were getting stung. It was horrifying. Since the forest was right next to the street, people were running out to the street, they were getting hit by cars. No, I'm just joking. Or am I? So pretty much, there were, recess ended, and we had to go back to our classrooms. And I was like, you know what, it's gonna be fine, you know? As long as nobody snitches on us, we should be fine. Okay, there was this little snitch. She came up, and she told the teacher, hey, these little girls over here went to like the little forest area, and like they played around with the bees, and they got stung. Like, shut the hell up. Nobody cares. I was so mad, and the teacher was also mad, and she decided to punish us. The worst thing you could do to a 4th grader. Silent read. I was so mad, but then I remembered, I'm kind of lucky. I didn't get stung. The aftermath of that situation was the Popular Girls got stung really badly. One of them got stung on her eye, and it was like puffed up for like the next couple like weeks. Another one got stung on her tongue. I don't know how, I don't know why. She accidentally ate a bee, I guess. I don't know. And another one was allergic to bees. So you can guess how that happened. She got sent to the ER. yeah, it was horrifying, and sometimes I just like to go to that little area, like the little forest area. It's been fumigated for like years now, but like, and I just like to stand there and just remind myself that if I got stung, it would have been a buzzkill. So let me ask you guys a question: to be or not to be? Yeah, no.
All right, so this storyteller said that toast is best with homemade jam. Flavor does not matter, just as long as it is homemade. So please welcome to the microphone Lucy from McDaniel.
All right. So, this is the story of the moment I fell in love with musical theater. And if you look at me, you can probably say, that seems about right. I've made musical theater my entire personality. So this moment is a pretty big deal to me. So it was a kind of mid-August, late afternoon, and I'm sitting in my room, not doing anything, probably fiddling around with something. My dad yells up my steps, put some nice clothes on, we're going out. And I'm thinking, we don't have plans. Where are we going? I wouldn't say I was a total extrovert. I didn't want to go out. But I put on a shirt and some slacks and I run downstairs. And he doesn't tell me where we're going. He just ushers me out into the car and we start driving. And I'm thinking, okay, where are we going? Are we going to dinner? Why isn't Mom coming with us if we're going to dinner? And we start driving around town. We're driving in circles. I realize this. I'm like, why are we driving in circles? And then we pull up at the Keller Auditorium. And I like to tell the story and say that I had no idea where we were going. But I'm a little smarter than I let on. And in the car, I might have looked up what musicals were in town. I haven't told my dad this story, so sorry, Dad, it wasn't a complete surprise. I snuck my phone down by my side. And so sure enough, when we pull up at the Keller, it is decked out in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical decorations. And I am so excited. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And so, first, we go up to the fountain kind of park area across from the Keller. And we take pictures. I'm looking at these tickets. These are so pretty. There's a picture of Willy Wonka on the front. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. So we go in, and we sit down, and on the screen, big screen across the stage, is the back silhouette of Willy Wonka, and like this beautiful purple curtain draping it down. And I get so hyped. I'm ready for this to start. So the screen rises, and out comes Willy Wonka singing the Candyman, and the whole theater fades away. It is me, and it's these songs and the story, and it was beautiful. It was awesome. But the best moment was the finale, and it's a completely pitch black stage, and except for the single white outline of a glass elevator, and Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka are standing in it, and they sing this gorgeous finale song, and I'm sitting here, just in this moment, I'm in complete awe, and I'm thinking to myself, I am so lucky to be here. We only got these tickets because my neighbors had gone on vacation, and I guess we're first in line for getting tickets to musicals, and so, I had been known to love musicals before that. My mom took me to see Wicked, and she looked over at me during the performances, and she looked at me and she said, your mouth was open, jaw dropped, eyes big the whole time. And so I loved it. It was great. And I remember walking out with my dad, and it's a muggy August night in Portland. It's gross. I can feel the humidity like sticking to me. And my dad, who's famously not really liked musicals, I kind of have to drag him along to these things, he looks at me and goes, well, did you like it? And I said, I loved it. When can we go again?
Theater. Franklin is putting on the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. It will be a ton of fun. And now this is going to be a little bit of deja vu, and I hope I am not cursing this event. But in 2020, I remember being so excited that Lincoln, as part of their musical theater, has a sing-along show, and I looked at NEA and said, NEA, we're going to go sing along to Fiddler on the Roof. That did not happen. NEA, we are going to go sing along to the Sound of Music. Please, please. That will be happening in April. Okay, so still stalling for a little bit of time. So I will share, and I think maybe my students from Grant might have heard this story, but hopefully they won't mind hearing it again. So as a way to drum up business in going around to the classrooms and trying to get students to be brave enough, because it does take a lot of guts to get up here on this stage and tell your story, and I thank all of you for doing that tonight. So I had to give them an example, right? Like, what do you do at a story slam? The theme's lucky. What are you going to talk about? And so I told a story from last school year when we were all doing school online. One of the things that we did at Grant was we had to make sure that students were able to get their textbooks. We have a woodworking class at Grant, so there was many a day when we were, Ms. Sochawa and I, standing at the front door handing out massive beams and woodworking kits. We gave out ceramic supplies, paint chips. I can't even remember all of these crazy things that we gave out. Of course, we were always happy to give out library books when people had checked those out. And one day, I had a student who had come to pick up some supplies, said hi to him, he got his stuff, he left. He came back probably 30 minutes later, very upset, frantic, and wanted to know, had anyone turned in a diamond earring? He had lost his diamond stud on his bike ride home. Now, for those of us in the audience who have pierced ears, you've probably had that happen to you where your favorite pair of earrings is now just, yes, tears. Very unlucky. I know, I have a whole drawer that are just singleton earrings. And maybe in my teens when Molly Ringwald was on the big screen in Pretty in Pink and she pulled off the mismatched earrings, I might have been able to do it. I can't anymore. So I was really sympathizing with this student. You've lost your earring. No, I'm sorry. Nobody has turned in an earring. Do I need to keep stalling or wrap it up? Okay, so long story short, I decided to go for a walk when it was my lunch break. Went on the walk, came back up to the school. Normally, I always walk on the right-hand side of the sidewalk up to the front. It's just something in my brain, like walk up this side, then come down on the other side. But there were people standing on my normal way of walking into the school, and because it was heavy COVID times, we had not been doubly vaccinated at that point, I decided I'm going to go on the other side, and for whatever reason, I happened to look down at the ground, and what did I see lying in the grass, winking at me, but a diamond stud earring. Oh, y'all, I felt like it was my lucky day, but it was definitely my students' lucky day that I decided to go for a walk. I had to go down the wrong side of the sidewalk, and I happened to look down into the grass. So, there we go, a happy ending for a student who thought his diamond stud earring was never to be found again. All right, so can we have up here front with me all of our storytellers, because we're going to eventually take a photo. That's right. There we go. All right, so I'm going to put my clipboard down, get out of the way. We're going to take a photo of these fabulous storytellers. this year's storytelling champion. So let's give it up for Alicia. And we're going to congratulate our runner-up for this year's Story Slam, and that is Danica. And we would like to thank our 5 other storytellers for gifting us with their tales tonight. We have goodies for all of these storytellers. We're so grateful that they were here. We're grateful that you were here. And we look forward to seeing everyone next year when we're not sure what our theme will be yet. Maybe we'll choose one from the QR code that we asked you to fill out when you came in. So thank you all so much for coming out tonight and supporting our story.